being had. If you want to jump in and ask a question, you get to do that. But it's everything from NIL to X's and O's to who's your quarterback going to be. It gets pretty wild in those sessions, but a lot of information coming out.
Yeah, absolutely. And you see a lot of great-looking athletes out here. I just saw Jared Wiley and the TCU crew. Jared Wiley looks like he's about 6'9". Man, that's a big dude playing tight end. That's 6'7" that they put on there. I don't know if that's accurate because he looks like he got me about 6 or 7 inches, and I'm a solid 6'4" myself.
That's the guy I'd like to talk to, man. I'd like to talk to him. That TCU crew looks impressive.
They do.
They look impressive, and to me, again, if I was their hype man, I would be pounding them in the weight room with the number 5 pick in the Big 12. They're disrespecting you. They're not giving you your love, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And again, when you look at that schedule, I was talking to one of our guys about TCU Colorado. We have an insider. I won't give up a name, but we have an insider that keeps up with Colorado stuff. And what I'm understanding, Zay, even if this story is not true, I love it, and I'm going to spread it like it's true because it's awesome. It's good drama. Supposedly, Sonny Dykes and the TCU Horned Frogs have some feelings about Deion Sanders.
What?
Supposedly, there's at least one player on the TCU team that transferred from Jackson State, and there's some things that Deion did on the exit that they weren't thrilled about. Some petty stuff. You're a fan of petty sometimes.
Love petty. You need petty in life.
But when you're the coach and the guy's transferring, maybe don't throw petty on him, especially when you're leaving too.
Nah, it's prime time.
So apparently TCU's extra focused on that game in Fort Worth from Colorado, but I'll still keep throwing it out. Their games after that are Nichols, at Houston, SMU, West Virginia. Anybody think they're losing those? Okay. Then they go to Iowa State. They host BYU. And then it's October 21st at K-State. If they got through that one and won the Purple Battle, they'd be 8-0 getting ready for Lubbock, then host Texas and Baylor at Oklahoma. I'm just pointing it out. Don't forget about the Frogs. Maybe they'll prove me wrong, but with Chandler Morris at quarterback, we'll keep saying it. Kendall Briles enter at OC. It's not like you're replacing you're not replacing Riley with nobody. The Briles, say what you will about one member of that Briles family. The one thing you can say about them, Zay, they know offense. They'll make you defend every blade of grass like they always love to say. And I just don't think Sonny Dykes and that crew are falling off that far.
Yeah, and you think about the guys that they're replacing on the offensive end. You think about Quentin Johnston, who is probably going to be the third wide receiver for the Los Angeles Chargers this upcoming year. I think he's going to have a really good rookie year. Think about Savion Williams, replacing him, another 6'5" wide receiver. See if him and Chandler Morris have a great chemistry there. And then Kendre Miller, what he brought to the team last year. Think about him not playing in the championship game, even though they got their ass whooped.
Yeah.
Him not playing in the championship game probably changed a lot about how they went about their offense and definitely made it a lot easier for Kirby Smart and that Georgia team to focus in on Max Duggan and the rest of those guys. Can they bring in Trey Sanders, the former 5-star recruit from Alabama? Can he come in and give you what Kendre Miller did last year? Because we know a big part of TCU's game is running the football. We saw Max Duggan. He was able to run the football. Can Chandler Morris bring a little bit of that dynamic to it, or is he just an arm guy? We will see. But, yeah, TCU, they have a huge chip on their shoulder, them being the reigning, well, not even the reigning champs, but them getting to getting to the championship, college football national championship.
Zay, before we hit the break, I'm going to be the smart-ass Georgia fan responding to you. So, Isaiah, are you saying it would have been 65-21 if Kendre Miller plays? Is that what you're saying?
I say 65-28.
Dogs would have been 65. Okay, just making sure.
Just making sure. Yeah.
Okay. TCU, one of the big dogs here today. By the way, apparently all the mascots were required to show up because I just saw the Sooners. What's the Sooner mascot doing here today? What's that?
Yeah, why is he here? Okay. Looking at these mascots, that Cincinnati Bearcats big as hell. We're talking about Jared Wiley just now. Like, I get it. Y'all are a basketball school too, but also that dude, he's towering over everybody.
Did you check out Cosmo, the mascot for BYU? I wouldn't mess with Cosmo either. Right over here on the left-hand side in the blue, see Cosmo?
Yeah.
Dude, Cosmo looks
fit.
Cosmo looks like he could go. By the way, in case you're interested in your mascots, be looking for the videos. I played cornhole against Nitro, the UCF mascot, and got embarrassed. Spoiler alert. We did a little deal with Hookem about what Hookem's excited about, and I did a one-on-one investigative report with Pistol Pete trying to get some information from Oklahoma State.
Okay.
hard-hitting journalism. That's what I provide.
That's what it's all about.
You know what I'm saying?
That's what we do here at the Horn.
That is what we provide, exactly. All right, coming up, more Big 12 Media Day stuff. We'll try to touch I have not seen Justin Wells yet. I've seen a couple of the other Inside Texas guys. I go see if Justin Wells is here. I think we could probably squeeze him in at the normal time at 1, right before Sonny Dykes talks on the podium at 1:15. So we'll try to do that a little bit later on. We got some other things to get into today as well. I know it's Big 12 Media Days. I got to get Zay's thoughts on the official new rules in the NBA and how they'll probably screw those up. We'll get to that, but we'll also keep talking Big 12 Media Days, including Texas, including TCU, and some others. We are live at Jerry World, and this is The Horn. Now, secretly, this is the song that's in every team's head except Texas and OU for Big 12 Media Days. Secretly, they've all got this in their head. They're just sad. They're sad because the Circus and the Sooners are leaving them. Maybe not. Chad and Zay back at Big 12 Media Days. Let's thank all the technical folks real quick. First off, Jack Farrell has been producing today and will produce for us today. We appreciate all of Jack's great work today. Thanks to Derek, thanks to Jacob, and thanks to Cameron Parker on this end of things for making sure we're set up. Also, shout out to that UT SID staff for lining up Sark and Ewers and X and Whittington, and then the two defensive guys all inside the Light the Tower show today. We do appreciate that, and we appreciate all the work that they're doing. The other SIDs that are trying to get stuff done. We may get to talk to Sonny Dykes before he hits the podium, and was definitely an interesting guy to talk to last year. We also, Zay, just saw a really emotional moment right over here on the field.
It was so deep.
You pointed it out to me. I saw you getting a little emotional, and I thought, what's wrong with Zay?
Now, I almost teared up.
What did you see?
Just saw the Pokies, Oklahoma State mascot, and the Oklahoma mascot, wherever the hell that is, take a picture together for one of the few last times, because we will not see that matchup anymore after this season.
When we showed up last year, Mike Gundy sat right over there in a breakout session and just real matter of fact said, fellas, it's over.
Yeah.
That's not happening. Somebody asked it like it was a possibility. He's like, no, that's not happening.
Not even trying to get it back together.
When I was eating lunch a while ago, there was a guy that covers Oklahoma State. I was trying to get his thoughts on the team and different things. I asked about Bedlam, and I said, what's the percentages you think of the team? Fans that care, fans that don't, fans that want it? He said he thinks it's 50-50 for both. He thinks it's like a coin flip for both teams. And I thought, after watching the Longhorns and Aggies.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Right, after watching some Longhorns and Aggies try to convince us they didn't care about each other, I'm like, come on, y'all need to get back together.
Yeah.
At some point, I think Oklahoma needs to step up and be Florida. Right? Be Florida. Be a badass big brother state school and say, you know what? Bring on that SEC schedule, and we'll play our state rival.
Yeah, that game's so much fun. Mike Gundy actually just walked past us. Do you like Gundy's scruff?
I do.
He has the scruff, little gray beard with the, with the mullet lined up. He looks smooth today.
Salt and Pepper Gundy is awesome. I love it. I love Gundy's look every year. He's got a perfectly reasonable mullet level going on.
Yeah, it's not out of control.
Nope, perfectly reasonable there. And you're right, he's adding the scruff, the salt and pepper scruff. I love listening to him talk football. He's my favorite guy at the breakout session later. So I'm going to check out some Sark. Don't get me wrong, Texas fans. We're going to check out Sark and those players. But I can't wait to hear from Gundy. I want to hear, does he have an NIL blast ready? Does he have, in the SEC, they've been taking their shots at A&M, right? Or it's A&M and Miami and USC. For Nick Saban, it's A&M and Texas and USC. I wonder if Mike Gundy's got a shot for anybody. Like, if somebody asks him about NIL, does he take a shot at the Sooners? Or is he taking a shot somewhere else? Or does he have some brand new idea about,
how you're saying Mike Gundy gets petty sometimes?
Yeah.
Get petty? Interesting.
And it's awesome. It is my favorite thing to see sometimes at Big 12 Media Days is Mike Gundy going where you love for people to go. Yes, going to the pettiness. Big 12 Media Days rolling on here. It was also cool to see, for all you Houston fans that might be listening, I saw their mascot standing there, and the name on the back of that jersey, Zay, says Shasta.
Huh.
When I was growing up, and Houston is in the Southwest Conference, they had a live cougar named Shasta.
Just a live cougar?
A live cougar. And they used to pull the LSU thing where they would put him in a cage next to the field to freak the other team out. But I remember going to a Houston A&M game where on the cover they had like an Aggie player and Shasta doing a little bit. But, I mean, it was a legit full-grown mountain lion that they had. So I'm hoping that they still have. Houston fans, you can let us know. We do have access to the Specs text line today, 337-3776. Is there still a live full-grown Shasta? And if not, is one being grown right now? Because if Mike the Tiger can still exist at LSU, y'all can certainly have Shasta.
Yeah, Shasta, man, University of Houston, still in the ghetto. So Shasta might be a little different. Be careful if you try to go approach Shasta, because that might be a different type of cat. I'm just saying.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah, you got to watch out.
A little different. A little bit different with Shasta. Yeah, we will see. We'll see if that is still the case. So we're going through, obviously, a lot of stuff today. If you didn't get the lineup, you got Texas, TCU, we've talked about. We mentioned Houston. Baylor is here. Kansas, Oklahoma State, BYU as well. In fact, I missed it earlier because I was losing to cornhole to the UCF mascot. But Dave,
yeah, it's kind of embarrassing. The UCF mascot the night can't even see.
Yeah, exactly. He's effectively a blind.
Like at all.
He's effectively blind, and he beat me at cornhole. It's terrible. It is terrible. It is awful. And I don't have any excuses. Like my little allergy thing didn't even take over. You know, the thing with my eyes that happens, like water in eyes.
We indoors.
The dry eyes didn't even happen to me there. It was terrible. But Dave Aranda came over and talked to Craig and Jeff as well. Baylor is here. That's another team that I think is – I wouldn't put them right there with Texas, but coming off – I know it was 6-7, but Zay, they bring back 12 total, 7 on offense. I like Shapen. What do you think of Blake Shapen? I've heard people say there's not enough evidence for him yet. I really love that. Obviously, the beginning was great, but then some people doubt him. Where are you on Shapen and Baylor?
Yeah, in 2022, he had 18 touchdowns and 10 interceptions, and you don't like that ratio. But, hey, when you have the confidence of your coach who said in spring camp he is the starter, not thinking about Sawyer Robinson, the Mississippi State transfer coming in, I think Shapen has a lot of potential. At the end of the day, Dave Aranda wants to run the football, and if they can run the football with guys like Richard Reese, who had 14 touchdowns as a freshman, breaking the record, then they're going to be a tough team. I mean, we know Dave Aranda, he did not hit the portal like he should have in 2022. In 2023, Baylor shouldn't have those problems. He hit the portal very well, and he brought guys in that fit his culture, that fit his system. So even though he's soft-spoken, he's tough as nails, and I think Baylor's going to be a very good team. Chad, peep game on this. They have 8 home games this year.
Oh, okay.
It's a record for Baylor. They've never had that many home games.
Yeah, I would imagine.
So at McLean Stadium, it should be rocking, and they should use that home field advantage to their advantage. And if they do that, they can surprise a lot of teams in the Big 12 this year. But at the end of the day, it's all on Shapen. He has to improve that ratio. Again, 18 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. That is not going to cut it in the Big 12. If he improves that, look out for the Bears.
Yeah, and that's a great point, talking about that home schedule. In addition to that, you don't play either Oklahoma school, and you don't play Kansas, which is important this year. Not that Kansas is going to be a world beater, but they're going to be dangerous, a lot of people feel. They don't have to mess with Kansas. They don't get BYU, but they also don't get Oklahoma or Oklahoma State. And, yeah, that's a great point. 8 home games. Start with 4, and the 4th one's the most important. Can Baylor start their conference schedule by beating Texas?
Yeah.
Because Texas is going to try to make that noise, obviously, 2 weeks before that. They're going to try to make the noise on September 9th, try to go to Tuscaloosa and get that win. Zay, even if they do it, Baylor has a chance to shut every discussion about not shut it all up, but really change the discussion about the Longhorns. Because if Texas is riding high, coming into Waco, not paying attention, maybe looking forward to the role of, if they get by Kansas and OU, Zay, they could be this and they could be that. And Dave Aranda's waiting with that running game. That's a massive day, September 23rd.
Yeah, and sometimes the best offense is keeping Quinn Ewers and that high-powered offense that we expect to see in 2023 off the field. Like all the guys that you got coming in from A.D. Mitchell, you hope Isaiah Nair could get out there, and hopefully he's 100%. But you heard Xavier Worthy today, Jordan Whittington, both of those guys with Craig and Jeff, they're ready to go. Like, this offense should be high-powered to where they're scoring almost 40 points a game. Like, there should be no excuse to not put up those numbers, but it all depends on Steve Sarkisian's play calling. And, yeah, keeping those guys off the field so they can't score no points, that's going to be, here we go.
Here comes the Sooner mascot.
Here comes the Sooner mascot.
The Sooner mascot wants to have a discussion. There, yeah, okay. Yeah, there it is.
I never noticed the blue eyes on him.
He does have blue eyes.
Yeah.
Beautiful blue eyes, I will say.
I don't know if they're beautiful.
Blue eyes. Because you know what? Let me give him this love. He has walked all the way over here. He has shown us his beautiful eyes. He did turn his back on us, but we have yet to see that famous hand gesture. It has not happened yet.
That's true.
The hand gesture has not happened.
Yeah, it's been very respectful.
Okay.
There it is.
See,
yeah, show us
you
the
know
gloves.
what? You know what? He's going positive. He's going with the positive OU instead of making it a negative Texas thing. I'll give you a little dap. That's very well done.
I can't dap you up. I can't do it.
He can't do it. He
I'm
can't
sorry.
do it. I will.
I'm sorry.
That's good though.
It'd
That's
be
good.
against the grain. I wouldn't be able to get back to Austin if I dapped you up.
There you go. There's
Oh.
Oh, I see. You tried to turn the helmet upside down. Security tried to throw you out, so now you're trying to make it up. I get it. I get it. That's good. Yes, the Sooner mascot coming to say hello.
Yo, Michael Jordan hasn't done many bad things besides gambling, but given his brand to Oklahoma, that might be another one.
Oh, no, that's terrible.
I love Michael Jordan. It was named after the man. He's my dude, but that's a bad look.
Oh, my goodness. That is it.
I'm sorry. I'm just a hater.
That's all right. We're sorry, Boomer. We're not trying to be mean to you.
49-0.
Boomer's here. Boomer's here, trying to give us love, trying to give us the Taylor Swift hard hand sign. Is that who gets credit for that? Who did that first? The hard hand sign from?
What? We're giving that to Taylor Swift?
Was that Taylor?
I know she's done a lot, but the heart hand sign, I'm pretty sure that's
who did that first?
Somebody. Probably circa 65.
Go way back? Well, you're going all the way back then?
I mean, what? A lot of people had love back in the day before Taylor. We can't give Taylor that much credit.
Well, you saying it was like Linda Ronstadt? I mean, what do you mean? Into the 60s, there was a psychedelic love being given?
I'm just saying, I think we give Taylor Swift a little bit too much credit.
Okay.
Have you seen the clip where she looks like a linebacker and she's on the ball of her toes and they call that dancing and stuff? I don't know how Taylor's so big. She's finessing everybody.
Look at you.
I'm on my hater stuff today.
You are.
That was a bad move, Sooner coming over here. Boomer.
Yeah. Do not have a discussion with my daughter about Taylor Swift, please, please. We don't need you. We don't need you and my kid getting into a yelling match. That would be tough. All right. So thanks to Boomer for coming to say hi to us. No upside down Longhorn. I was surprised. All right. Coming up, a little bit of crap bag for you. I want to get Zay's thoughts on flopping in the NBA. I'm sure they'll do that the right way. No problem. And we'll try to check in with Justin Wells at 1:00 like we normally do. Coach's stuff coming up. Sonny Dykes at 1:15. Certainly from the podium. We may visit with him too. We'll see who we can grab at Big 12 Media Days. We're at Jerry World on the field, and that's pretty damn cool on the Horn. All right, not just an ordinary Wednesday in July when Jerry World opens it up to the Big 12. And 4 new members coming into the conference. 2 of them show up today, but all mascots are here today. We're having a lot of fun at Big 12 Media Days. Chad Zay with you live from the field here at Jerry World. During the break, we are watching the mascot. Just imagine if mascots are doing like, the fight face-off before a UFC or boxing, big fight or whatever. They're just kind of doing that, facing off, doing little videos and stuff. Zay, you have been able to determine which mascot you feel like is the best overall athlete. Who is it?
Yeah, Cosmo, BYU mascot, the Cougar. So athletic. If you've seen the dancing videos, check it out.
Did he just do a jump split?
Oh, I've seen him do some crazy stuff.
What was
he
that?
Gets down. Yeah, there might be a brother in that suit. I wouldn't be surprised one bit. Now, one thing that I've always been confused about, Chad, is Willie, the Kansas State Wildcat.
Yes.
Because I feel like everybody would be thrown off if Willie came up in here. It's just the Wildcat helmet / whatever mascot head,
right?
And then it's just a white dude in pads.
Exactly. No, that's the beauty of Willie. Willie is we're gonna go giant head, but the rest of it is just like rando slot receiver.
Like, what if Willie came out with Bernie Mac's complexion? Would that just alter everything here at Big 12 Media Day? Will we all be rattled?
You know what? Now that's an interesting question. We've had in history, the history of college football, remember it was a big deal when Notre Dame had their first black leprechaun. Has there been a black Willie? At K-State.
Yeah.
In that outfit. I don't know.
Now I'm asking another question.
K-State?
Is it allowed? Have they had somebody try
Come
out
on,
and
man.
said, you know what? This just isn't going to fit with the purple and white that we're trying to throw out here.
Yeah, and
nothing racial, just, the mascot has to fit.
And somehow we have become a target for mascots because the Sooner mascot Boomer came over to give us a little static. I really thought Cosmo was coming over here. I'm glad he didn't now because he is an athlete. So far at this moment, we are not getting any mascot trouble. We do have somebody on the text line that agrees with Zay, though, and says Taylor Swift is the most overrated artist of all time. Okay, again, just don't tell my kid that. We don't need to have any of that going on.
Yeah, the dancing is just very odd. There's that clip going around where she looks like a football player. Like, she's bouncing up and down. People say she looks like Luke Kuechly. Like, that's not a good look.
That is not good.
Look.
That's not good.
Yeah.
All right, somebody's asking a perfect question to transition us into a crap bag. So let's get you a quick crap bag here at Big 12 Media Days. Brought to you by AV Consultations. 255-8678. Make sure all those mascots this football season are as clear as they can be in beautiful HD, avconsultations.com. All right, so somebody texted Chad. Craig was talking earlier about how excited you were about the helmets that are on display. Any thoughts? Example, the Baylor with the matte gold. So last year we did a full breakdown of helmets. We'll do that again after the show because I got to be in a certain mood. It takes too long. We can't do it before the show. It'll just ruin show prep. So the Baylor is going with the matte gold. Not gold. They're going yellow. That's matte yellow for Baylor. We'll go break it down helmet by helmet. But I got to say, Zay, my favorite one so far is a newbie. It's UCF. They've got a sparkle gold paint. They got the sword over the top, the 808 on the nose plate, and it says something like charge on or something like that on the back of the helmet. UCF right now I think might be my favorite helmet of the day.
Yeah, the black and gold is very sharp. I expect them to have some serious colorways when it comes to their uniforms this year. They could definitely change it up, and it could look fly. Now, Chad, I know you're going to, talk about this after our show, but just seeing what we see now, are you surprised that Iowa State brought the all-black helmet?
A little bit. I would have expected them to go with that USC kind of vibe, but think about it. I mean, other than Cincinnati and Tech, there's no, that's a way to go, just mean black. I do like that black look. Remember, because Iowa State's gone all black. They've gone all white with the helmet sometimes. So, yeah, a little surprised on the black there.
They usually wear black when the horns go up to Ames.
That's true. May do it this year.
Yeah, that game scares the crap
that
out
one's
of me.
That was an interesting one, too, on that Longhorn schedule.
That's an ultimate trap game. There's 3 trap games that I don't like. It's Baylor, Houston, and Iowa State. All of those games, Texas should win, but all those games being away games, yeah, they scare me a little bit.
All on the road, and that Iowa State game is off of the Fort Worth game. Fort Worth and Ames are back-to-back. That's tough.
People aren't talking about Hunter Deckers enough.
Nope.
Like Hunter Deckers, I know he's a little roller coastery last year, but they had the horns on the ropes at DKR. And if it wasn't for that fourth down touchdown from Xavier Worthy and Quinn Ewers on that beautiful whip route, who knows what the ending regular season record would have been. But Hunter Deckers, the lefty, I think he's tough, and I think he can surprise a lot of people in the Big 12 this season.
Yeah, 24-21 was that final, in case everybody missed that one. Somebody texted, how do you think the new schools feel? This has got to be a huge step up for them. I was talking to somebody about that earlier, Zay. I think that's a fantastic thing to point out. Just this step up, man. You could tell UCF people are excited. You're in Orlando trying to get a little attention. Houston in the Big 12. And obviously the two schools that'll show up tomorrow with Cincinnati and of course, BYU is here today, BYU and Houston. But, I mean, all four of them, you know they got to be excited. To be in a Power 5, they're probably thinking, why are y'all bitching about this TV money we're hearing about? This is awesome TV money. We'll take that all day long. 30, 40 million? Yes, please.
Yeah, I think about BYU was independent. Now they're coming to the Big 12. And, you know, they just had Zach Wilson, well, number 2 a couple of years ago. So they could get guys, and they could surprise you. Yeah, it's very exciting to see all these new teams. And the last year, Texas and OU will be here.
All right, Zay, let's break off a little bit from football. I want to get your thoughts on the NBA rules. We talked about them a little bit earlier, but now it's all official. They're going to do this year. So rule number 1, that second coach's challenge. If you win your first one, you get a second challenge. Although if you win both of the challenges, they don't give you that second timeout back.
Right.
You have to give it up the second time. I don't think that one's going to be that big a deal, but I do like that they're giving them maybe another opportunity. The one I want to ask you about is flopping. Here's the explanation of the flopping foul. It is going to be a non-unsportsmanlike tech on the team that commits it. The opposing team will get a free throw. Here's another interesting note. This turns into hockey in a way. The ref can wait until the next stoppage in live action to call it. He doesn't have to call it immediately.
Yeah, because you might be messing up somebody's transition points or somebody that might have an advantage. So, yeah, don't stop the play. I like that.
Right. So, yeah, if the flop happens and there's a great pass inside for a dunk, the dunk will count, and then they'll say, blow the whistle, flop, give them the free throw, and then the other team would get the ball. The other thing to remember, no possession change on this rule. So if you're coming down the floor and you get called for the flop and you've got the ball, like you're setting up a play, they'll get called for the foul. You'll get a free throw, and then you still get the ball.
Yeah.
You'll get the ball will be wherever it was going to be there. Also, coaches cannot. This is the silliest part. Coaches cannot review a flop. They can't say, "Let's go review a flop." But Zay, why did they put this in? It can be added on another review. They can go review something else and add a flop on top of it.
Huh.
I think that's going to get them in trouble. Or do you like that idea as an NBA fan where you're thinking, hey, if we see the flop on the replay, let's add it on? Do you like it?
Yeah, they need to take away flopping in general. Flopping is an absolute disgrace to the game. Shout out to Vlade Divac, Manu Ginobili, LeBron James, some of the greatest floppers of all time.
The Godfathers.
Yeah, man, some of the greatest. Like what Vlade was doing in the early 90s for Los Angeles, we've never seen that before. And he probably wouldn't be able to play this day and age of the game because he would have got hit with a flopping call like they're about to have in 2024. I love it. I cannot stand flopping. It's awful. And sometimes it's on the refs. Like the refs, they have to know with playing the game and seeing so much action what's a flop and what's not. And it's hard to tell that at times, which, you know, got to get some of these young refs out there. I've always been vocal about letting these young refs get opportunities instead of these old-ass Dick Bavetta refs or hitting 80 and stuff like that.
Wow.
That's a joke.
Okay.
If you live in a retirement home, you shouldn't be reffing.
Hey, if you can beat Charles Barkley in a foot race.
That shows a lot about Charles at that point of his life. So, yeah.
And Charles did go backwards.
Yeah, he did. He did. So, get flopping out the game. Hopefully, this cleans it up. But you do not want the NBA game to be slowed down. I like the pace where it's at right now with the extra, challenges and stuff like that. It might get a little slower. I'm against that, but we'll see what happens.
Somebody texted in, flopping should be a technical foul. It is a non-unsportsmanlike tech, but it is a technical foul. Somebody else texted in, Marcus Smart's career is about to be over.
See,
How dare you?
See, he's one of the tougher ones. He'll flop. Everybody flops at the end of the day.
He does have a couple of the more aggressive flops we've ever seen.
Yeah.
That flying one under the basket is one of the greatest of all time. I thought he damn near broke his hip that night. I couldn't believe it.
It's hard to say somebody that's been Defensive Player of the Year, like, to be mad at them flopping. But, yeah, everybody does it. You see it on every single team. Some do it more than others. And, yeah, you're going to get got if you do it this year.
Yeah, no doubt about it. All right, so that flopping rule will be in effect this NBA season. Hey, real quick piece of news here. I saw it. Thank you for a texter on the text line. Texas baseball fans, Tanner Witt's coming back.
Big.
Got drafted later in the draft, a little too late for his liking, so he's going to come back. Obviously, the injury stuff's been a deal with him, so he's going to re-rack it at Texas for new pitching coach David Pierce.
Yeah, let's see what the new pitching coach could do with Tanner Witt. I mean, we know with the Tommy John surgery that he had, he did not look like the Tanner Witt of old. So another year treating that injury, getting better, getting his confidence back, that's going to be huge for the Longhorns when the season comes around.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, coming up, we will see if we can catch up with Justin Wells of Inside Texas. Sonny Dykes scheduled to talk at 1:15. Holgerson 1:45. Leipold 2:10. Aranda 2:35. We might bring you a little bit of each of those guys from the podium here at Big 12 Media Days. We are on the field at Jerry World, and this is the Horn. All right, let's go hour number 2 on a Wednesday. Just let the Curtis Mayfield wash over you, and it's really easy to do when you're at Jerry World. That giant scoreboard, sometimes you get jaded to things like this. It's been fun to watch the UCF people, the BYU people, Cincinnati, not so many Cincinnati folks here till tomorrow, but the Houston folks, especially BYU and Houston because they're a part of today, and there's some UCF cheerleaders are here, the mascot and stuff. Just watching them watch all of this has been fantastic. It's Chad and Zay. We are live at Jerry World. I'm Chad Hastings. He is Isaiah Collier. And Zay, as a Cowboys fan, I just wanted to let every other Cowboy fan listening know I did go pay my respects to the 18-yard line right over in that area where Dak watched the foot go the other way.
Oh wow! Why are we bringing that up?
It's a sad moment. Well, you got to pay your respects sometimes. It's a huge moment, and you got to acknowledge these things. And as you pointed out, we are in the end zone where hopefully Tony Pollard will be doing a lot of good work. On my way in today, I pull in and I see a display on the front of the stadium, and I saw 2 jerseys, number 4 and number 11. And I thought, now that's the way to sell this team.
Absolutely.
Dak and Parsons. We are on the field here at Jerry World, obviously, and there's only 2 trophies here today, which is interesting. In years past, they've had all kinds of bowl trophies that are associated with the Big 12. So one of my favorites, the Sugar Bowl trophy's been here before, the Fiesta Bowl trophy's been here. But Zay, it's all boiled down to 2. And it's the Big 12 trophy, and it is the National Championship trophy for TCU fans. Those are the 2 trophies you fought for and lost, both of them last year. For Texas fans, there's one of them that most fans are saying you have got to be playing for. That one right out in front of us. We've joked about the what if Yormark had to hand it to Texas. But Zay, if the Longhorns don't find their way back here, if this is the last time that Sark sets foot in this stadium in 2023, massive disappointment for pretty much every Texas fan we're talking to.
Very disappointing because it's not going to get any easier. When you go to the SEC, you know how tough that schedule looks in 2024, and you think about 5-7, 2021, 2022, 8-5, much better, but University of Texas, that is not the standard. If you don't get over 10 games and you don't win the Big 12 championship or don't give yourself a chance to fight for the Big 12 championship, then it's a disappointing season. I'm sorry. That's just what it is. That's the expectations that you had. That's the expectations that Mac Brown had, and et cetera, the people who came before him, Darrell Royal, all of those guys. You got to win your conference championship because you're the staple. When it comes to college football, when it comes to all college sports, the University of Texas reigns supreme, and it hasn't been that way for over a decade plus. When it comes to the roster, it doesn't get more stacked than what we've seen in year 3 for Steve Sarkisian. And yeah, there should be nothing that gets in the way of you getting in the stadium and playing for a Big 12 championship. It's very exciting. And hearing the guys this morning on Light the Tower with Craig and Jeff, hearing Jahdae Barron and his confidence, Jalen Ford, seeing Jordan Whittington and Xavier Worthy. Like Xavier Worthy, he got hell last year. He got absolute hell from the fans, from everybody. Twitter, everybody was lighting his ass up. Everybody was talking about, yo, this dude, you might as well transfer. You change your number to number 1. You don't deserve to be number 1. Xavier Worthy, he hears that. He hears that, and he's going to come into this season, especially since he's trying to get drafted this year. He's going to come in this season with a great attitude, and with all the weapons that you have around him, from Isaiah Nayer, A.D. Mitchell, again, Jordan Whittington, you got the freshmen, and Ryan Niblett, DeAndre Moore, and Jonte Cook. All of those weapons should free up somebody like Xavier Worthy, who was getting bracket coverage all year long. So Quinn Ewers coming into another year, him being confident. You saw how he looks, and he had the boots on, boots made for walking. He's ready to go. So, yeah, I'm excited, man. And this is the year going into the SEC that you have to prove something, and I think Steve Sarkisian and crew could do that.
So today, listening to Sark, there was one word that he said that I would be glad to hear if I'm a Texas fan. Craig asked in general about where the team's been, workouts, what are you thinking? And he just said, I've been really impressed with the focus. He just kept using that word, focus, over and over. And the fact that he's bringing 2 big-time skill guys like that on offense, in addition to his quarterback, and obviously a guy that many people think certainly was the best defensive player in the Big 12 last year, and the media loves him for preseason this year. Just the focus of this team should be, that seems important to him, but it's going to be critical. Get the focus where you need it to be, because every Texas football season is just built in with these landmine distractions. Just world class. You can't deny them distractions. How many teams ever go to Tuscaloosa, Alabama for what that scene can be, over 100,000 people, and then would dare to play a non-conference, to play a neutral site game, the quality of what happens at the Cotton Bowl.
Right.
And so because of those things, it goes back to what you were saying. It's the danger spots. It's Waco. It's Iowa State. It's at Houston. Hey, Holgerson's waiting. There's all these possibilities of landmines Texas has to get by. That's where the focus is going to be good. The players look pretty confident today, which is a good thing.
Yeah, and we know it's never a perfect season. There's going to be injuries somewhere. So with the depth that you have, are you able to overcome those injuries? These last few years under Steve Sarkisian, he's had his quarterback get hurt, from Hudson Card and to Quinn Ewers last year, where Hudson Card had to replace him. So if that happens, are you confident in a Malik Murphy to come in and pick right up where Quinn Ewers probably left off? And hopefully the talent that you have around the quarterback could help. I mean, I know we talk about all these wide receivers, which it's one of the deepest wide receiver rooms in the nation, but there's still a huge question mark on the running back room. You got 5 running backs all fighting for time, and yeah, maybe Jonathan Brooks, he might stand out a little bit, but C.J. Baxter, he ain't coming in to sit the bench. His former 5-star coming out of Florida.
You better hope he's not.
Right, he ain't coming. That's what
That'd be a problem.
That would be a problem.
Yep.
But hopefully it's a good problem. If he is sitting the bench, that means Jaden Blue must have stepped up.
There's a reason,
that means
yeah.
Savion Red coming in as a wide receiver, now becoming a running back. That means he might have stepped up. And you think about Keelan Robinson, who you and Chad, you and I, we always talk about, what are you going to do with him? Because he's too talented, too athletic, too quick, just he has quick change of direction to not put the ball in his hands. And again, all the talent that you have in the running back room, Bijan Robinson and Roschon Johnson, both of those guys are playing on Sunday. So that's a lot to overcome. Can Steve Sarkisian get another 1,000-yard running back with this core? I think he can. Just who? That's the question. Who's it gonna be?
Right. A couple of updates here real quick. I did get in touch with Justin Wells of Inside Texas. I asked, hey, are you here? You want to come over and talk a little bit at 1? He texted me back a location that is not Arlington, Texas.
Oh.
And I was like, oh, okay. And I said, so you good to jump on or no? And he goes, and then he used you can always do this one, right? If you're the guest on bad area, man. I am so sorry. I am so sorry. No, if he thought he had good service, I think he'd jump on with us. But Justin Wells of Inside Texas.
It's nothing but love, Jay Wells. It's all right.
That's
dog.
it.
I know
that's
you're
it.
busy. It's nothing but love.
I saw a couple of the other guys from Inside Texas earlier. Joe Cook, who we have on the show every week, and Ian Boyd earlier. So they're here covering things for Inside Texas. So coming up at 1:15, 5 minutes from now, it is Sonny Dykes, the aforementioned Sonny Dykes, the man who fought for the Big 12 title last year, the man who fought for all of it, beat a Michigan team nobody thought he could, and then obviously they just got flat whipped against Georgia. He'd admit that to you. But how do they re-rack it for 2023? We'll get into that coming up. Also, a quick update from Wimbledon. The American dream is over for Chris Eubanks. He did lose in 5 sets today.
Damn.
But he took him to 5. Daniil Medvedev got through that one, 6-1 in the 5th. He'll take on Alcaraz in one semifinal. Djokovic is in the other. We might be working our way towards an Alcaraz-Djokovic final on Sunday morning, which could be pretty interesting. We will see. Big 12 Media Days rolling on here. So we're talking about Texas and the players. Again, all the players were on with Light the Tower earlier. It was great to see all of them. All of them look like they're in incredible shape.
Yeah.
Zay, looks like the offseason stuff was good. One of the other things I wanted to point out about Quinn Ewers, there's nothing more important in maybe all of sports than a starting quarterback in football. Maybe it's a starting pitcher in baseball. You can talk about some others, but I always look for what I call the softening of the eyes. If anybody loves the movie Bagger Vance, they talk about look at it with soft eyes. You can tell Quinn Ewers has calmed down. You can tell things have evened out in a good way. His eyes are softer. There's not like if he'd been at media days last year, it would have been a little different. You can tell things are a little more under control. Here's what I have to do. Here's how I have to do this. Here's where I have to sit down. Here's who I'm talking to. And you could tell he's going through it a little bit. And then he also mentioned, and Xavier Worthy followed him interviewing the guys, he said, hey, we've grown up together. They're friends. They're roommates. They're going through it. So he's had to deal with that part, but it does look like he's maturing. And then, Zay, I asked somebody that got a one-on-one with Xavier Worthy already today. I said, did you ask about the hand? He said, yes. I said, all right, he's got to answer it all day. What did he say? And he said Xavier's answer was essentially that, it was something he said he didn't want to disclose the exact injury, but it's okay.
Right.
And then I'm sure today he will also kind of get into what he had to go through. But we've said this before. His part of it, I think, is a little bit – there's a tough sort of almost, heroic quality to it if he's going to fight through it. I'm wondering how many people are going to ask the play caller about that today. It's like find a nice way to say, Coach, you admitted to everybody when you didn't need to that you spent a lot of time throwing to a one-armed man last year.
Yeah, you talk about how deep this wide receiver room is. I ain't even mentioned Casey Kane, but that's the thing. Steve Sarkisian, there's other weapons. Jordan Whittington definitely didn't get the ball enough last year in 2022. Why was that?
Right.
Why weren't you going through, which, Sark, you play quarterback. BYU's here, which that might be a little weird for him, seeing that Cougar here. But, he played quarterback himself, so he has to know, how do I help my quarterback make the easy throws? And we did not see that at a consistent rate last year, to where the last 2 games of the season versus Kansas and Baylor, they just said, Evan, we just going to run the ball the whole game. We're not even going to put it in Quinn Ewers' hands, because he didn't have the confidence that Quinn Ewers will be able to get it done, and you got to be able to understand the scouting report. If nobody could stop Bijan Robinson and Roschon Johnson, then those guys should get the ball 20+, and we'll see if that happens for the running back room. But, yeah, Quinn Ewers, you're right, Chad, he's just coming in with a different attitude, and him and Xavier Worthy, those guys being so tight, them being roommates, they got the most heat last year. From the fans, from Twitter, from everybody. Why are y'all struggling? People were talking about both of those guys getting pulled. People were talking about what's going on with Xavier Worthy and his drops last year. And coming into the 2023 season, that has to piss you off, because now you want to prove that, hey, last year was a fluke. Yeah. It was an absolute fluke. And you went 8-5 with all the distractions and all the crap that happened last year. A lot of teams will take 8-5, just not here at the University of Texas.
Right, not good enough. And you also know he's a guy that sat down in the chair today with the guys, and he's going to talk to all the media in this thing. He knows who's behind him too. He knows that Manning is in that room with him. By the way, our own Jeff Howe did ask about the picture. In the locker room. He said, honestly, I didn't know it was even going to get out. I did not know. He goes, but when Malik told us what he was going to do and showed us the idea, we said, okay, let's have some fun with it. But I think you'll like this too as a Texas fan. If you're a Longhorn fan, this was the idea. He said they talked about it ahead of the summer, way back earlier in the summer. They said, hey, let's dedicate ourselves to getting in here on the arms, getting in here with the abs, getting our core strength going, and at the end of it, on June 30th, they set the date. On June 30th, before we head out for the 4th, we are going to take a shirtless picture, the 5 of us. We are going to take it, and we're going to show off what we've done. And I don't even think they thought of it as they're going to show it to us. They wanted to know, right? Because we all can appreciate that. Sometimes you're trying to lose weight, gain weight, do whatever it is. What it is, you take a picture, get a little before and after, that can be motivational.
Right.
You see it all the time on weight loss stuff. So I think that's what they were trying to do, and then it ends up going out and getting all attention. But he dealt with that question perfectly. Yeah. Had a smile on his face, real calm about it, and I think he's comfortable with that leaner, meaner version of himself physically, but it feels like emotionally he's ready to be the quarterback of this team.
Yeah, there's something about getting in that weight room and then knowing that, man, I feel myself getting stronger, which gives him more confidence to stay in the pocket and make throws. When he left that game against Alabama and he came back, it seemed like he had a little PTSD when the rush was, coming in the pocket and stuff. He kind of oversailed some throws just because he was trying to get the ball out of his hands. Sometimes you just got to say, hey, I'm going to take some hits, and if you're confident in your body and what you did in the summer by getting stronger, then you're going to be more confident in sitting in the pocket and making those throws when there's a lot of traffic. So I'm really looking forward to that in the second year for Quinn Ewers, and God forbid if something were to happen to the starting quarterback, QB1, you got a lot of guys that were also in the weight room that can maybe get it done. Just they got to prove it.
By the way, Sonny Dykes coming right up, and we can just see Sonny sitting up there at the table getting ready to go with his comments. We'll try to bring you a little bit of that. Sonny Dykes, of course, coach of TCU. If you're a Texas fan, Sark's at 325. this afternoon. So just into the Ball Don't Lie show, Steve Sarkisian will be speaking to the assembled media here. There'll be a breakout session from 4 to 5. We're hoping in that 4 o'clock hour maybe to get Xavier Worthy on with Rod and Harge as well. Get you a little extra X-Man today, hopefully, since X was also on with Jeff and Craig today on Light the Tower. So a lot of stuff going on up here at Big 12 Media Days. All right, let's get you a little bit of Sonny Dykes. They fought for the Big 12 title and all the marbles. They didn't get it done, but he's ready for 2023. Here's Sonny Dykes and maybe a question or two.
Welcome to the stage from TCU, Coach Sonny Dykes. Coach, welcome back, and we'll start with an opening statement.
Thank you. I'm really excited to be here again. I want to thank the media for being here and for covering the Big 12. And you know, I'm really excited about what's going on in our conference right now. Also, a little bit sad. Just wanted to touch on the fact that Chuck Carlton's not here with us. Chuck was always did a tremendous job covering the Big 12 from the Dallas Morning News, and really sad that he's not here with us. And wish he was, but certainly appreciate what he meant to the league and enjoyed his coverage over the years, and just wanted to say that. So again, glad to be here, man. To me, it's a signal. The football season is right around the corner. It's a very exciting time of the year. We're blessed to be in the Big 12 and in this tremendous facility. We're blessed to be in a conference that I think has proven to be one of the top conferences in college football. You go and you look at the parity in the league last year. To me, it was unrivaled. I think that there's not very many leagues when any team in the league can beat the best 2 or 3 teams, and that certainly is the possibility in the Big 12 week in and week out. And so I think it makes this league incredibly unique and incredibly different. There's obviously some changes happening with Texas and Oklahoma exiting the league, but we welcome some really good, capable members that I think are going to make the league better. The 4 teams coming in have had a great history of success. I have tremendous respect for all those coaches at those institutions and the commitment of those institutions to preparing them, those schools to go and compete in the Big 12. And the resources those institutions can provide are going to allow those teams to be really successful. They all have a great recruiting footprint, and they all have things that you have to have in order to have a strong football program. So excited about having those teams. I just want to shout out to Brady Ormark and the leadership of the Big 12. I truly believe we have the best conference commissioner in college athletics. I think his vision is unparalleled. I love the confidence that he brings to the league. I think he's got a great understanding of how to position the Big 12 to be incredibly successful moving forward. And so couldn't be any more confident in a commissioner than I am with Brett, and appreciate what he's done for the league so far, and I know he's just getting started. So excited about that, and feel really strong about the future of the Big 12 and our role in it. Last year was a fun season for TCU football. We came last year and didn't have very high expectations. I think we were picked 7th in the preseason poll, and I probably would have picked us lower, honestly, than I think the media did, just based on what was coming back and the coaching change and all the stuff that transpired. But man, you got to give our players a ton of credit. We had a good nucleus of players. But what made that group interesting and fun to coach was we were better collectively than we were individually, and that's a sign of a great team. And I think that's what we had last year. When the season started, I felt like we were an average football team, probably honestly slightly below average. We won some games, got a little confidence, hit the second part of our schedule and started to win some games and became a probably slightly above average football team. Won some games and figured out how to win. Became a probably good football team. And I think At times last year, we were a great football team, and it was a fun ride to go on. Those players and their level of commitment and their respect for each other was really fun to be a part of. And it was a hell of a ride and something I'll never forget. But at the same time, we got to move forward. What happened last year is certainly not going to have any bearing on what's going to happen this year. So a big challenge for us. I think we got a lot of eyeballs on us as we move forward, and that's what you want. You want to have high expectations for your program.
And you want me to when you want to come back?
I think, everybody has slogans for their program, and I think, when you think about TCU football, our deal is we try to be, all steak and no sizzle. And I think that's kind of what we want. We want to fly under the radar a little bit. And, that's a role that we relish, and we want to overperform and under-promise. And so that's kind of our mentality in our program. Let me just say this, too. I think a big part of TCU's success, before I got here, and certainly now, under Coach Patterson in the past, was our leadership. I think we have tremendous leadership from the top down. Victor Bashini, our chancellor's outstanding. He provides all the resources that we need. Again, I feel like I've got the best chancellor in college football, the best athletic director in Jeremiah Donati. And I think we're a great team. I think we share a vision for what we want TCU's program to look like, and they certainly provide the resources that we need to compete at the very highest level. So blessed and fortunate to be here and excited about this season.
Thank you, Coach. Now we'll open it up for questions. If you wish to ask a question, please raise your hand. We'll get a microphone to you. Please make sure to say your name and affiliation. We'll go to far left. Actually, straight ahead center.
Hey, Coach. Colin Wilson with the Action Network. Last year, you had one of the most explosive offenses in the nation, about 27 seconds per play. Now, Kendall Briles comes in running a much faster offense for Arkansas at 23 seconds. Are there any high-level wrinkles we'll see with TCU offense?
Yeah, we did. We lost
Don't
some
bring back
really
after
good
this.
football players. I mean, you look, Max Duggan finished
second.
the Heisman Trophy.
You got it. Some trying to feel him out.
The thing I love, though,
before he
is
stops.
Yeah, that's what makes it fun. See that stuff come together. You see it in the beginning, happen in the spring, and certainly gets to carry over to the fall. But really optimistic about the group.
Mike's up.
Sonny Dykes, head coach of the TCU Horned Frogs. We'll talk about those comments coming up. Hopefully get you a little Holgerson and maybe some other coaches as we roll on. It's Big 12 Media Days from Jerry World. Up next, we'll hit that flex segment and talk about a flex story that comes full circle after a year. This is The Horn. Oh, there we go. A little punk rock going on a Wednesday. Green Day for the kids. Kids, if you don't know Green Day, that makes me old. That just makes me old if you don't know Green Day. They're old now, right? Those are old men. What do you?
No.
Because when you think of Green Day, like I'm thinking of Green Day as like this contemporary band of mine. You probably heard that song and you're like, those old bastards.
Yeah, Green Day, American Idiot. They got some classics, man.
They do. They do. They have some that are going to live really well. That kind of stuff holds up really well from them. Shout out to Billy Joe and the crew. By the way, speaking of shout outs, I want to give Sonny Dykes and Brett Yormark credit because Sonny Dykes at one point said, shout out to Brett Yormark. Zay, you know what I've never heard at Big 12 Media Days? Hey, shout out to Bob Bowlesby. That never happened. Not once. Not ever. No offense, Bob. But congrats to Brett Yormark for being that cool and swagalicious that one of his best coaches decides to give him that love. We'll talk about what Sonny Dykes had to say here in just 1 second. But I wanted to get a quick flex segment in here because I think there's only one name we need to be talking about today when it comes to flex. Let's make it full circle and talk about flex here. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and talk about him. This is going to be selfish on my part. I apologize in advance, but remember, you can also check out Flex ATX, flxatx.com. Those district previews are out there getting you warmed up for the season. If you need to let us know who should be on the All Flex watch team, remember, the new watch team is going to get unveiled the week of July 24th. But Zay, I figure we should talk about one guy right now because we're sitting on the Cowboys field. Last year this time, I was sitting on the Cowboys field talking to a hell of a local story named Deuce Vaughn.
Ooh.
He was standing right over there in a badass suit looking 10 times better than I could ever look. He was an incredible gentleman. It was an awesome interview. And what do you know? 1 year later, his next goal is to go to work with his dad a few times and find his way into this or that end zone at Jerry World. Deuce Vaughn, that's a flex success story right there.
Yo, the Cedar Ridge product is an absolute star. Thank goodness we don't have to deal with him in Kansas State like we had to these last 3 years.
You sure you don't want another year?
I'm good. I'm good, man. I know he gets all the Darren Sproles comparisons, which he should, especially being a former Wildcat, but he wants to make his own name, and he's going to be in a very comfortable spot. Not many people say they could go play for their dad and work with their dad, so I know that's very special to him. And yeah, let's see if he could help out that very questionable running back room that the Dallas Cowboys have at the minute, because Ronald Jones, all right, I guess. Malik Davis, okay, I guess. Can Tony Pollard recover from that injury that he had in the San Francisco game in the playoffs last year? I think he can. A lot of people think he's going to have a big-time year, and I think he could too. And we all know at the end of the day, it's what Dak Prescott brings to the table. If Dak Prescott can show you what he can be and maybe get his team to Las Vegas on having a big-time season and overthrow the Philadelphia Eagles and San Francisco 49ers, we'll see. But Deuce Vaughn, I think he's going to be a big help. And, yeah, he might be low-key, Chad. He might be a very, very far out, like as far out as you could go up for Rookie of the Year.
Oh, I wonder if that's where you were going to go.
Just throwing it out there.
Let me tell you what. If I could sign up for that right now, let me sign up. You don't need to tell me anything other than that. If you'll guarantee me that, I'll sign up for that for this Cowboys season right now. Great point about the room, though. If you're a fan of the two big circus tents, Cowboys and Longhorns, you know a lot about 2023, but you're not dead set on those running back rooms. You don't. Pollard's the most consistent thing you know. We know that.
But can he be a bell cow, though?
Exactly. You have enough questions where there's a lot of stuff out there. The other thing I'll say about Deuce Vaughn, and this will bring it back to one of your favorite guys I know as a Texas fan. Texas fans have every reason to love Bijan Robinson. But last year, what he pulled off at Big 12 Media Days was magic. That dude showed up in a suit. And actually, you know what? I think they were just rocking the polos. You're right. Showed up in that polo last year with the hair looking perfect. And he made everybody in here feel important. Yeah. It was incredible. The other guy that stood out to me, though, was Deuce Vaughn. Just the way that it carries themselves. It's one of the things you can get from these players as you watch. You're looking for leadership. You're looking for how you carry yourself. You got to walk in here. You got to shake the hands. You got to get the dabs. You got to talk to a bunch of total strangers that cover you, that want to rip on you, that want to criticize you, that may not even know your name when you walk up, and you got to deal with all of it. So shout out to Deuce Vaughn, though. I hope it's an incredible story. But being back on this field just reminded me, like, wow, a year later, that dude's a Cowboy. That's
Yeah.
so cool. Cedar Ridge folks, I know I don't have to tell you to love Deuce Vaughn, but it's such a great story. We thought we'd bring it up again. Flex segment at 1:30 every day. So give me some thoughts on Sonny Dykes, talking about his TCU team. What jumped out to you?
I like that he shouted out Gary Patterson. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, at the end of the day, Sonny Dykes inherited a very good ball club in 2022. Even though he let it be known that they were picked 7th last year from the media, 5th this year. So he doesn't mind being the underdog.
Now, how about that line where he said, I'd have voted us lower than 7th?
Yeah, I would vote us lower than 7th.
So somebody today needs to ask, where would you vote you this year, Coach? Because I still don't know if he thought that 5 was an insult, but that was an interesting comment from about last year.
Yeah, very interesting. And thinking about Browse being in as an offensive coordinator and Garrett Riley leaving and the tempo that Browse is going to bring in when he was at Arkansas, seeing if they're going to put any of that into what Sonny Dykes wants to do with his offense in Fort Worth. But, yeah, I mean, nothing surprised me too much. Sonny Dykes, he's a professional. You know, he's a professional up there. Gave Yarmark a lot of love. And
Shout out.
Shout out. Yeah, give a little shout out.
Yeah.
I feel him, man. Yeah, he's rocking that. What is that? Is that TCU purple? The suit? Like, it looks a little light because I know they have different purples.
Oh, yeah, for Sonny, it's almost like they're doing that K-State vibe where they'll come up with that brighter purple for something.
Yeah, it's still sharp.
Almost a lavender.
Yeah.
You know? We're getting a little fancy.
A little lavender, light violet.
Hey, you went and played for that thing right over there. You played for the national title trophy. You might as well wear some fancy colors. Also, I'll give Coach credit for him giving the shout out to Chuck Carlton. That's cool, man.
Right.
To be a member of the media and have a coach actually care enough about a legendary member of our business and giving the RIP mention to Chuck Carlton. He's one of the legends, one of the GOATs in our industry. So shout out to that's his dad right there, man. That's something that Spike would have done, and Sonny is certainly his dad's kid. That was cool to hear. But also, Zay, to that Kendall Briles comment, it made me it focused me in on when I think of Kendall Briles coming in. A lot of people want to go, they hear the name Briles, and there's obviously some stuff off the field you might think of with his dad, but with football, what his dad did, what he does, spread you out every blade of grass, but everybody loves to think about the passing part. I always think of the running part, and it's the first thing Sonny said. He agrees. Kendall agrees with what I do. We're going to be a physical running team. Spread you out, make you guard everybody wide, and then we're going to gut you right up the middle. That's what he wants to do. The question is, does he have the horses? I'm interested in where this Trey Sanders story goes. A transfer from Alabama, 4.6 a carry, 3 years at Alabama. Sounds like it might be important.
Yeah, he was a former 5-star, too.
And then the rest, Imani Bailey and some other names. That's a team that wants to run. If Kendall Briles gets that thing dialed up, extra dangerous for the Frogs. But I think that's important to remind all the fans of, because if Texas is going to Fort Worth, Zay, and getting that big win in November, it's because they don't allow them to run the ball.
Yeah, and that's a trap game. A lot of what these teams are going to do against Texas this year is run the ball because they don't want to see that high-powered offense on the field. The less that Quinn Ewers and Steve Sarkisian's offense is on the field, the better for these other teams. That's why it's going to be huge for, those dogs that are coming in. Byron Murphy, Trevondre Sweat, Barron Sorrell. You heard Jalen Ford today, and he has a mark on his back because he's probably thinking, man, I really got hosed for Defensive Player of the Year last year.
Yep.
And the dude had over 118 tackles. So what they're going to bring, Jaron Thompson, I don't think gets talked about enough. Darren Thompson was awesome last year. He was terrific at that safety spot. Just, sometimes when you don't talk about guys and they're invisible, you think they're not producing. No, he just didn't do anything wrong. It just wasn't, crazy stats that he put out there. Look for Jaron Thompson to have a huge year, and a lot depends on Jalen Catalon's health. Can the Arkansas transfer stay healthy? Because, again, I make those Bob Sanders comparisons when he was playing for the Indianapolis Colts and winning Defensive Players of the Year. When you're that small and you play with that much reckless abandon, you're just throwing your body out there. You don't give a damn who you hit. Oh, you got a big old Jared Wiley type coming across the middle. I'm going to lay you out because this is my territory and nobody deserves any extra yards. When you have a player like that at Jalen Catalon's size, that makes me a little worried. But if you could get a healthy Jalen Catalon to go along with guys like Ryan Watts and, again, Jared Thompson, think about Gavin Holmes, the transfer from Wake Forest. course, Terrence Brooks coming into another year. The Horns, they got dudes. They got absolute dudes. And this defense, they can turn it up. Even though you don't have DeMarion Overshown anymore, this defense should be able to turn it up and put a lot of pressure on opposing teams. And if they do that, then they should be in this stadium towards the end of the year.
2 comments on your Jarrett Wiley thing. I love that thought because you put a picture in my head of a really important play in that game. Jarrett Wiley, Jalen Catalon. Who gets the best of that play? And the second thing I think of is, hey, Big 12 officials, make sure you're watching that play closely.
Let me watch it.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, that's the thing. We're here. Everything seems cool. We're getting treated with love. I'm dapping people up, meeting people I've never met before.
Treating with love. You mean like being on the opposite 15-yard line for the media stuff?
Again, you're right by the buffet line.
Okay.
You're
all
good.
right.
You're right by the spread, so I ain't tripping about that.
It's like a half a mile away. There's like 3 malls in the Dallas area between me and that booth right now.
Right.
Come on.
But you always have to remind Horn fans, with this being the last year in the Big 12, which game are you going to get hosed?
Yeah.
Where the refs are just turning the other way, turning the other cheek, got a blind eye. Oh, we ain't see that. My bad, Sark. You never want to hear that from a ref.
Yeah.
When the coach
I
goes
didn't
to the
see
sideline,
it.
I didn't see it. Like, I missed it.
That's
like,
me.
thanks. We can't get it back. Appreciate it. I used to hate other refs tell other coaches that. Like, we messed up. My bad, coach, patting the chest and stuff. We don't want to hear none of that. So you got to take care of your business so these refs don't come in and muck stuff up for you.
All right, we'll hit a break here, and then we'll come back, get you some Dana Holgerson. He's about to talk to the media, and he is rocking that classic hairdo. Gundy and Holgerson are meeting this year. That's fantastic. Holgerson comments coming up. We're at Big 12 Media Days at Jerry World. Don't move. This is The Horn. There we go. For Whom the Bell Tolls. This would have been on the Metallica album I had you listen to, right?
Yeah, this was on it.
Little Ride the Lightning. For Whom the Bell Tolls. Great song. We'll see who the bell tolls for in the Big 12. That's a good one to get you fired up. They could play that for the Big 12 title game coming up here in December. Will Texas be a part of it? The media says it's Texas and K-State. We heard from Sonny Dykes earlier. He thinks it's going to be somebody in TCU, I'm sure. And shout out to all the folks making it possible. Shout out to Derek and Cam and Jacob, our crew getting us set up. Shout out to Jack Farrell producing for us. Zay is sitting right next to me. Thanks to Isaiah Collier for his great work. Thanks to Craig and Jeff for being up here earlier, rolling Light the Tower, getting all those great interviews. And also, thank you to our two great sponsors today. First off, Hay City Store. We've seen our man Travis today already. HayCityStore.com, at Hay City Store on social media. Get on out there. Remember, if you're panicked, just say bacon, jam, burger, and enjoy.
Easy money.
Easy, easy money if you're into burgers. Also, Big 12 Media Day coverage brought to you by One Source Gas of Austin.
Yeah, usually I like to switch it up at Hay City Stores because they have so many delicious items. But I've been going with the truck stop enchiladas these last few times.
That's so good, too.
It's tough to beat.
Did you add the egg or leave it alone?
I leave it alone.
Okay, because
Yeah.
I've done it both ways, both good.
Add the egg.
Add that fried egg to maybe go over medium or whatever you prefer there. Add that fried egg on top of the enchiladas. Magic.
Yo, man, your food recommendations today have been on point. You're talking about Chick-fil-A and what Quinn could do early
Exactly.
in the first segment.
Hey.
And, wow, I've been very impressed.
I'm here to help.
You're putting me on game.
Now, by the way, my Chick-fil-A idea earlier was to stay fit. What I just told you to do at Hay City Store is not to stay fit.
A little different, huh?
It's a little bit different,
Yeah.
yes. Be careful, be careful. All right, normally at this time of the show, we give you where we at in society. Zay is going to give his time to Dana Holgerson.
Yeah.
Okay.
Before we give it to Dana, he looks like the villain of the next Anaconda movie.
That's a good call. That is, you see that little John Voight
Yeah,
going on?
like a hefty John Voight.
So Zay is letting you know he thinks Brett Yormark has some Victor Maitland vibes going today, and he thinks Dana Holgerson can be the villain in an Anaconda movie.
Yeah, he has like an 8 head instead of a 5, but he still has the party going on in the back with the mullet. It's a great look coming into the Big 12. Great look. I respect it.
The old 8-head mullet for Dana Holgerson, ladies and gentlemen. All right, let's hear from Dana Holgerson, the coach of the Houston Cougars, opening statement, and maybe we'll grab that first question. By the way, here's my prediction. I don't think this opening statement's going to last near as long as Dykes. Let's see.
Yeah. There we go. Y'all are clear.
Last 4 years have been a little different for me. Being in the American Conference, and I really appreciate the conference with the Big 12. But this thing is moving in different directions. The University of Houston's been looking forward to this day for a long, long time. They don't know the history. About 38 years ago, the Big 12 was a great conference this forward. And Houston not put up on that, so I'm just proud to be in the university. There's great leadership from really good toward the team to some of the great people that drive us successful in my great presume today as well. It's been a great mentor for a lot of coaches for a long time. And we're excited about getting a big 12 and what's going to come. Probably here this year for years to come. That's what it is.
Mic trouble. Good, I'm here.
I'm very impressed with the
You want to just this one question? One more. You got it.
A model of consistency and we just a great player. He's been up in the NFL, but that opens it up to who's next. It's not that we're up there participating about Houston's had a really good quarterback player right here. From all the way back in the day, David Cleveland, Kevin Cobb, to Steve,
Kevin Cobb. Nope, we just lost the mic. He's still
now we're
talking,
back
but
to
all right, here we go. Or you got like
when it comes to being able to
get to the break. Mike, is that right?
The coach of the Houston Cougars.
Oh, man.
That's a great line. Zay asked about LSU, and you know there's 64 other teams coming.
There's a lot more other teams trying to get all these Houston players.
H-Town. That's fantastic. Also, the comment on Donovan Smith. That's a key name for him this year. Can Donovan Smith show some of the stuff that he did at Texas Tech at Houston?
Yeah, especially what he did against the Longhorns when they went up to Lubbock. I know everybody remembers Bijan Robinson's fumble, but I remember Donovan Smith looking like the man.
Yeah.
So if he could bring any of that energy in the U of H, then they could surprise some people. But it's not just him. He's battling out with Lucas Cooley, who is a sophomore quarterback there. So I expect there to be a little quarterback battle once, the season starts. But, yeah, at the end of the day, I think Donovan Smith, it's his job to lose.
Did you hear that big hunk of truth at the beginning, too, how big this is for U of H? He said, hey, after hanging out in the American Conference, I am glad to be in a conference like the Big 12. That's just, that you could look at that as mean, or I just look at that as flat honesty. And remember, he's done this before when he was at West Virginia. He knows what it's like to come to a G5, from a G5, into a Power 5. Houston's been looking forward to it. He also threw the history in. Yeah, you know, back in the day when they formed the Big 12, Houston was not a part of it.
Yep.
You don't think Cougars have been talking to him about that over and over again? Plus, he dropped the Andre Ware name. That wasn't an accident either. You know, I was just talking to Andre Ware earlier. There are quarterbacks in our – by the way,
Kevin Cobb, Case Keenum, he's bringing up all the H-Town goats.
By the way, I don't know what happened on that technical thing with the microphone. I honestly think the person running the mic thought he was going to some kind of bit when he said Kevin Cobb and shut him off. Kevin Cobb fans, I'm sorry about that. I feel like they shut him off and thought he was making a joke or something, but apparently something was just going on with that microphone. All right, coming up, we'll get you a 2 o'clock hour here. We'll see if anybody drops by. Oklahoma State is in the house. We are efforting Mike Gundy as we had the last couple years. We are hoping that Zay's presence, the magic of Isaiah Collier, will draw Mike Gundy over here because he's never seen anything this handsome sitting at the table.
Yo, we both got tight cuts, ready for Big 12 Media Day.
We're hoping.
I got
right?
edged up yesterday. It looked like he got edged up a couple of days ago, ready to go.
If the two of y'all can just compare hair care thoughts, that'll make my day. Hopefully that comes up in the 2 o'clock hour. And remember, later on, 4 o'clock hour, we're hoping Xavier Worthy can jump on with Rod and Harge and Patrick for Ball Don't Lie. Also, 3:25, Longhorn fans, is when Steve Sarkisian hits the big podium and talks to the assembled media. If you missed the interviews from earlier in the day, go to hornfm.com and check it all out. The guys on Light the Tower got Sark and all 5 Texas players that are here for Big 12 Media Days. More coming up on the Horn.
amazing.
All right, getting started with hour number 3 on a Wednesday. It's Chad and Zay. I'm Chad Hastings. He's Isaiah Collier. Normally Zay's picking the beat to start the third hour. Today, Jack Farrell is picking what starts this third hour. Jack Farrell, we appreciate your hard work today. What are we going with here?
Oh, stop, Jack. Wait a minute.
Wow.
No, that's not how we look at this song. 2013 soundtrack, NBA 2K. Come on, dog.
Does that make you feel old, Zay, when he said
That don't make me
2013?
Well,
Or is
didn't it come out then? It came out like in the 90s.
He's just telling you he's telling you where he played it from, and he's trying to make you and me feel old by saying, yes, this is from the NBA 2K 2013. That's where it came from.
I mean, yeah, good soundtrack, but yeah, you gotta give Biggie and Puffy their respects.
So,
Victory, that's a classic song.
I'll admit I am not. I consider myself a music snob. I am not snobbish enough in music to go deep level into the soundtrack of a video game.
That's too much for me too.
Okay, you don't go there?
Nah.
All right, so Jack, you said it's a great soundtrack. Is it one of your favorite? Do you have like a favorite video game soundtrack of all time?
I think it's probably NBA 2K13.
Whoa.
Is that the one that Jay-Z made? Yeah.
Oh, well. That is wild. Now, see, I'm all about people getting into music that might not be a part of their experience or their culture or their world. I just never thought of the window to get in being video games.
Yeah.
I never would have thought of, but it makes sense because there's so much music that's naturally a part of video games, and then it's going to get in there. It's osmosis. It's going to get into your soul.
For sure. I would say the best video game soundtrack, any Grand Theft Auto game.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because, again, you're in the car most of the time in Grand Theft Auto, so you could pick different radio stations
I see.
in the car.
So what's your station for Grand Theft Auto?
I don't know what station, whatever hip-hop station they got, or
Okay.
they usually do some 80s stuff. A lot of the things that I play on our show, Chad and Zay, probably comes
from Grand Theft Auto?
Yeah. A lot of the hits, metal stuff, a little taste of everything.
You're not doing like some, classic oldies or something? You're not doing like Elvis or, Bill Haley in the Comets or anything?
You could probably find that, but it's hard to do a 187 on somebody listening to Elvis.
You're not like running over folks to, we're going to rock around the clock tonight. Boom, boom, boom. No? That's not how.
No, absolutely not.
You got to create a mood for Grand Theft Auto.
Like one of the worst scenes in Face Off was when they were shooting up the house and they had that old-ass, slow-ass song playing while the house was getting shot up.
Right, yeah. They wanted to give you that vibe,
Yeah,
right? They wanted to slow your world down.
Like, that's a little eerie.
And why is that? Because that director loves slow motion more than anything else.
That's
John
true.
Woo is crazy for slow motion.
That's true.
All right, so thanks to Jack for getting us started this hour with that one, a little Puff Daddy from a video game.
Let me get a shout-out before we continue. Shout out to my guy, Tay Diggs, Stunt Devil. He is 30 years old today. He helps me out a lot, a la CB style on social media.
Okay.
Tay Diggs, Stunt Devil. Appreciate you, dog.
By the way, do you think he gave himself that name
I
or
think
someone
so.
else did?
I'm not going to lie. I looked at his AVI, his profile picture. Kind of looks like Tay Diggs.
Hey, dude, when somebody tells you you look like someone and you actually think they're good looking, we all can agree Tay Diggs is a good looking man. You run. You run with that.
For sure. Somebody stopped me and said, yo, what Acho brother are you? And I was like, nah, brother, just because I have this Texas logo on don't mean I'm an Acho brother. Wrong dude.
Hey. Somebody said you sound like Tone Loc. Not you look like Tone Loc.
Funky Cole Medina.
You sounded like Tone Loc. Yeah, Acho brother. I
saw Sam hanging around here.
Dude, I'll take anything I can get. I'll take John Kitna. I'll take Kevin Bacon. I'll take anybody.
John Kitna.
I'll take anybody. I will take anybody at this point. I'm not trying to be picky. By the way, coming up, we got Lance Leipold of Kansas. A couple years ago when COVID was going on, Lance Leipold in Kansas, they had a COVID issue, couldn't get out, and he had to go by Zoom. I'll never forget that. What a modern deal. He had to do his press conference via Zoom. But Lance Leipold is about to hit the stage, and we'll get a little bit of that to you. Kansas is a team with obviously preseason offensive player of the year in quarterback Jalen Daniels, but they're picked to finish 9th. Zay, you were the one that pointed out that math doesn't quite work.
Makes no sense.
They need to be better than 9th if he's the offensive player of the year.
Yeah, how the hell are you going to be 9th place and then win the title? Like, I've never heard that before.
Yeah.
Or win Big 12 Player of the Year. I've never heard of that, but hey, maybe he could be the first one. At the end of the day, before Jalen Daniels got hurt last year, they were 5-0 and they were rolling. They were a big highlight of college football. They had game day down there in Lawrence. It was popping, and it wasn't for basketball either. So, it was popping, and Jalen Daniels last year, he led the nation in total QBR rating. So I'm expecting him to have another big year. It's just what's around that crew in Kansas. That's the most important thing.
Yeah, they got a couple other guys we could mention that were on the all Big 12 preseason team. Their center, Mike Nowitzki's a badass senior. He got some all Big 12 love. And don't forget about Kobe Bryant. Yes, that's right. Number 2, C-O-B-E-E, Bryant, the junior cornerback, got some all Big 12 love as well. So we'll get you a little Lance Leipold coming up here. By the way, they are also the team that will play BYU first in a Big 12 game. Kansas hosts BYU September 23rd. They got Missouri State, Illinois. That's an interesting one there. They get by Illinois. At Nevada's the next one. Do they beat BYU? And then, Zay, it's a game I know you've got circled in your mind as a Longhorn fan. Oh, it is fixed. That game with Kansas. You talk about Baylor being one you could forget and mess around with. After Waco, right before Texas OU is hosting Kansas.
You're right. You're right.
That's a rough spot.
Yeah, that is a rough spot. And don't sleep on Devin Neal. Devin Neal was a hell of a running back last year in his freshman year, went over 1,000 yards on the ground, and him being in the backfield behind Jalen Daniels, they're going to try to run the ball over everybody. They got a lot of returning guys too, so don't sleep on Kansas again this year. It's just about those guys staying healthy.
Yeah. Jack, are we good on Leipold? I see him on the stage. I'm just not sure if he started. Yeah, here we go. All right, let's get a little Lance Leipold, a statement, and maybe a question.
Jellicoe? Back after the censor. Mike's up.
That's Lance Leipold, coach of the Kansas Jayhawks. Obviously, question coming in about Jalen Daniels. You would expect that. He's welcoming the new teams in. I mentioned they play BYU. They also play the other two new teams. They play two of the other new teams. They play UCF. Right after Texas, at Austin, and then they play UCF at home, then Oklahoma State. That's a tough 3-week stretch. Later on, they go to Cincinnati. Kansas does not play TCU, West Virginia, Baylor, or Houston this year. But Leipold's team is interesting because of Daniels. Zay, though, that non-conference isn't going to get them any love, any attention unless they lose. The BYU game's a maybe. First time the nation may pay attention to that team is when they come to Austin.
Yeah, and that'll be an interesting game for sure. They're a team that's returning 10 starters offensively, and they put up 438 yards per game last year, and that's including the games that Jalen Daniels was injured and 36 points per game. But the problem was with their defense, they also gave up 36 points a game, and hopefully Lance Leipold, and he doesn't want to give that up this year, and if they don't give that up, then they're going to be in the mix of, playing with everybody. I think Jalen Daniels is that good. There's a reason why he's picked Big 12 Player of the Year. And again, if he could stay healthy, like his coach just said, then sky's the limit for Kansas, which that's weird to say.
It is. It is.
I'm not talking about Bill Self and what they're doing in basketball. We're talking about football with Kansas. Even though they're picked ninth, I think they're getting disrespected there. They're better than what they were picked by the media in ninth place.
Yeah, I was reading through Kansas stuff and Phil Steele, and he pointed out last year, the 12th year in a row, Kansas was pegged to finish last by the Big 12 media. So obviously that string ends this year with the ninth place prediction, but it had been that long with Kansas. 10 back on offense, 7 back on defense. That is a big number. Will Kansas be a factor in this conference? Sonny Dykes was talking earlier about just that overall parity in the conference, that he feels like, some of those supposed lesser teams can be dangerous, and that is what we've seen. There's good coaching in this conference. There's good scheming in this conference, and nationally, we watch it every year. I've been harping on this for years, where you'll go week in, week out, Big 12 fans belly aching, Texas and Oklahoma fans belly aching about the Big 12, how much they hate the Big 12. And I'm looking at it and I'm going, okay, well, this week there's like 4 SEC teams up towards the top, and there's 3 in the Big 12.
Yeah.
And it's a pretty, it may not be the cachet conference that you're looking for, but there's some pretty damn good football. I'm interested to see what it looks like now with these 4 others thrown in for a year. Then obviously, you duck away there. No surprise that Leipold welcomed the new members in, because obviously they've all got to go together, go forward together in this new conference.
Yeah, there's so many defenses now with the high-powered offenses that you've seen in the Big 12 over the years, just putting up crazy numbers, just spreading it out and stuff. And a lot of that has been countered with the 3-3-5 defenses that you see from Iowa State's and Baylor's that Quinn Ewers struggled with a lot last year. So you have to take the underneath stuff, and you have to take what they're giving you, and you have to be able to run the football. If you can run the football in this conference, then you could blow it open. And that's why there's so many question marks. Again, when you think about this Texas roster and the running back room, yes, there's 5 solid guys there with Jonathan Brooks and Savion Red. You think about Keelan Robinson, Jaden Blue, and then the freshman C.J. Baxter. But Bijan Robinson, it was easy to say, okay, we don't have none, let's just give it to number 5. And number 5 would do some special things that we've never seen before on the football field. You don't have that luxury anymore. So is Steve Sarkisian going to be able to dial it up and call the right plays, not just in the first half, But also in the second half, like, let's keep it real. We put up numbers in the
Uh-huh.
first half a lot last year. Then you got a lot of single-digit numbers in the second half. Sark's going to have to do a better job at adapting and understanding what teams are trying to do when they make adjustments and adjust to that. And that's going to be, I think, the biggest key for Steve Sarkisian. He's going to have to outcoach some guys, and we haven't seen that through the first 2 years.
See, Zay, it's what I always tell you. This is why you Longhorn fans get a bad reputation. You're so entitled. You're asking for 4 quarters of football? What are you doing? I mean, that's silliness.
Hey, you want to be great? You want to do something special? You got to play 4 quarters. That's what it is.
You want 4 quarters of focused football?
Yeah, or I take winning by 50 in the first half so you get those second and third string guys in. I'm good with that.
You want the Nick Saban route where you win by 48 and gripe at your fans in the postgame press conference.
Yes.
That's what you
Absolutely.
want. You
what
want
the
that.
hell
Okay.
y'all leaving for?
Why
Y'all
you
need to
leaving?
stay. What is going on here? What kind of place is this? Yes, I need that type of love.
I need support for my third string. All right, okay, fair enough. Texas, by the way, Longhorn fans, you want to count it up? 52 days till the Longhorns get the season started. We're 57 days away from that first NFL game, and we are 60 days away, even 60, to the NFL's first Sunday. By the way, here's your obvious story that we knew was coming. Now it's official. Hard Knocks, Aaron Rodgers and the Jets.
That's what I'm talking about.
It's done.
Great job, HBO.
It is done. They have selected the Jets to serve as Hard Knocks.
I need to see, because it's HBO, so they could show him taking the drugs, right?
Theoretically, I guess, yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Like, I need to see how he does it. Does he smoke it? Does he put it in a pipe? Does he crush it up? Does he snort it? Or does he just ingest it?
But see, remember, he's already been to the darkness retreat, so they wouldn't have had cameras at that point. This is only now forward.
Oh, you think that he doesn't do this on the reg?
Well, I'm assuming it's not part of his training camp ritual. Now, if they're doing some ayahuasca thing in the quarterback room, we're going to have fun with Hard Knocks this season. And just glad that they realize you can't go back-to-back anybody, but you certainly can't go back-to-back. You better have a damn good reason to go back-to-back. The Detroit Lions are not a good enough reason.
No, not at all.
Not
I
even
love
close.
Dan Campbell. He's a great, funny guy and great with the camera and stuff and great for the NFL. I'm not trying to see a repeat of last year.
If they had gotten Aaron Rodgers, maybe.
Yes.
Right? If somehow if they'd done some weird trade where Goff moves and Aaron Rodgers is a Lion, maybe.
They got some great characters on that Jets team.
Yeah,
obviously, it's going to be very fun to see, Austin's own Garrett Wilson, but Sauce Gardner, he's a character in himself. And then, Aaron Rodgers. Great move by the NFL and HBO.
Yep, the Jets will be your Hard Knocks team. All right, coming up, why today matters. Yes, it is Wednesday the 12th. You know why today matters in terms of football because we're talking Big 12 Media Days. A couple days ago, I mentioned a birthday that nobody mentions anymore. Today is probably the king of birthdays nobody mentions anymore. We'll get to that. We'll talk more Big 12 as we are getting closer to the season. Remember, Texas fans, 325 on Steve Sarkisian. Coming up at 235, the next coach to hit the desk. Here's the test, Zay. We'll know that Brett Yormark is cool if Dave Aranda gives him a shout-out.
Yo.
Now, that's where we'll know. If Dave Aranda gets all cool and slick on your mark, then we will know. Dave Aranda talking Baylor coming up at 2:35. Gundy's is straight up 3 o'clock and 3:25. Again, is Sark. You'll hear that live right here on the Horn. Cool. on the horn. Jack Farrell is back in the studio rolling it out for us today. What do you got there, Jack?
Another one of my favorite bands here in high school. We had this a couple weeks ago. Some of those. This is Mount Eddie band. I don't think exists anymore. They're called Ultra 2.
Mount Eddie. Look at you. What's the song called?
This is Chroma, the title track from their only full-length LP.
Nice. There you go. You never know what you're going to hear, Zay. You never know what you're going to hear.
Yeah, I know, man.
When you're in that 12 to 3 slot, somebody might throw a little Mount Eddie at you. I mean, come on.
I respect it.
Yeah, earlier
Respect it.
you're ripping on Taylor Swift earlier. We had some Green Day, and now Mount Eddie. We're getting it all. A Puff Daddy beat that came from a video game. It's all there.
Yeah, when Taylor Swift's out here dancing like a cornerback getting ready to drop back and cover, she deserves to be clowned a little bit.
Man, that is tough. Jason Sehorn? Is that who you're thinking of? Maybe?
No, Jason Sehorn had more swagger than that.
Okay, all right. I'm just checking. Just trying to make sure the comparison. Who did you say earlier? Luke Kuechly? You said Luke Kuechly has been the comp? That's rough. That is a rough comp, man. I
gotta show you this video. It's hysterical.
Oh, dude, that is crazy.
Jack, you know what I'm talking about. You've seen that Taylor Swift clip where she's going around. She's like bouncing on her legs. It's like she's about to make a hell of a tackle, but it's dancing for her. Great form.
She's got good form. All right. I hope you are having a great Wednesday. Coming up at about 5 minutes, it's Dave Aranda and the Baylor Bears. Yeah, they're rocking that nice matte yellow helmet. We'll get you that in a second. First, Why Today Matters on July 12th. Here we go. All righty. Why Today Matters on July 12th. There are a whole lot of birthdays you can mention in our business, talking about, the world of sports or music or entertainment. Some of them don't age quite as well. Today's is now one of those ultimate ones. The other day was OJ's birthday. We mentioned that. Oh, so that just feels different no matter how long we're going to live. Zay, today, though, might be the mountaintop because it's Bill Cosby's birthday today.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, it's the 8-6 for
Professor Huxtable?
Bill
Dr.
Cosby.
Huxtable?
Dr. Cliff Huxtable. It used to be such an easy one to mention. You'd get a good, wholesome feeling. You'd talk about the show, and you grew up, and no. Felicia Rashad, I got to talk about how much I loved her, and the
Michael
kids.
Jamal Warner.
The kids were great. We grew up with them. Little Rudy grew up and was beautiful, and just terrible. Terrible stuff. So Bill Cosby's birthday today. Also on the fighting front, Brock Lesnar is 46. He's gone from the agreed-upon fighting to the scripted fighting, back to one, back to the other. He's been a legend in both worlds. Brock at 46, now a pretty good babyface, but kind of going back to a heel in WWE.
I never will forget. Right after the Attitude Era, where wrestling was getting a little, I don't know. And Brock Lesnar came about and started F5ing everybody and stuff like, who is this dude?
Yep.
He is serious. Love Brock Lesnar, former Minnesota Viking.
That's true. Yep. Minnesota Viking for a while, and the national champion at Minnesota in wrestling.
That's right.
That started it. Then football. Then go into WWE. Then became the UFC champion like 5 fights, and he went on a dominant little run there and had a couple of dominant wins. Was the champ, and then ultimately lost a couple of fights, and then went back to WWE. But he is absolutely something else, and man, is he over with the fans right now. Not that he's never over. He's got one of the great pops in wrestling history. When his theme hits, that crowd gets so excited that Brock's in the house. Happy birthday to Brock today. Happy birthday to Michelle Rodriguez today. She's 45. Zay, I got to mention a member of the Fast and Furious crew. It is Letty herself. Michelle Rodriguez, also in that new Dungeons & Dragons movie that I heard is making a mint, and the nerds love it.
What was that joint that she was in where she was fighting all the time? She might have shaved the head a little bit.
Oh, I don't recall.
She was in a fighting movie.
Was she in a fighting one?
I want to say, yeah.
I don't remember. I'm sure she could pull it off,
Y'all know what
though.
I'm talking about in Specs text line. Hit us up, 337-3776.
Dude, she had that great scene in the Fast and Furious movie where she fought Ronda Rousey. You ever seen that one?
Badass. No, I haven't seen that.
They were both in cocktail dresses.
Oh, man.
They fought at a party. I guess they were supposed to be at in the, Dubai or something like that.
Right.
They went off a railing, busted through a table, fighting on the furniture in dresses. It was incredible.
She gets down, man.
It was incredible. Also on the food side, let's make you hungry. It's National pecan pie day. You into pecan pie?
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it.
Good
I have to call it pecan because I'm mad country, but yeah, absolutely love some
Really?
pecan pie.
See, my family's country too, but we always went with pecan. You went pecan?
When I say pie, I say pecan pie.
Okay.
When I'm just talking about pecans in itself, man, it's pecans.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
It's also, this one goes out to Max Scherzer. It is National Different Colored Eyes Day. They call that heterochromia, and I always think of Scherzer. He's the most famous athlete I could talk about that has 2 different colored eyes.
The only one I know.
Yeah, I think it adds to the intimidation factor,
Right.
in a weird way. And then it's also National Eat Your Jell-O Day. Are you a Jell-O guy at all, Zay?
Yeah, love Jell-O.
Give me your favorite flavor of Jell-O.
Red.
Just a red Jell-O?
Whatever that is.
Okay.
Yeah, from cherry to strawberry. You know, a little mixture of watermelon. Love some Jell-O.
Very nice. All right, coming up, we may be visiting live with Dana Holgerson, but right now let's bring you a little bit of Dave Aranda from the podium talking a little Baylor. Here we go.
Do you want to hear?
Guys, really appreciate about the records is showing here a lot of from our athletic programs. Appreciate all their support. It's always good to be I want to share this with you hard lessons from last year. And I imagine for some time after last year. It's one of the beautiful things about our sport is the personal problems out here in depression. And it's also just me can survive it. It can happen there too, and other positive things and negative things. I don't think last year trying to save people, maybe trying to change people, not having one of others, and okay, this year one of us that made me think, okay, I think people really change and improve from the way to they're ready to do it. Last year, and I think Baylor was not being accessible, and I embraced it. I think one of the struggles for me was able to say yes to something outside the typical NFL player on your team. Maybe the struggle from injury is going to be trying to get this process of school looking over, is maybe trying to find techniques of like this position that he's playing, or he's trying to get away with any of those things that they do. When the person in the end, you always feel like the sucks and wrong about that person. And I think even when I come across hey, this is what needs to happen for the player on the team. As opposed to just looking at what's best for their own particular player. And I think the other thing that is very interesting trajectory of getting off of the life is that one of these others is their policy of kids that down the road anytime career or a young person's career. So
We still know if this is one weight classes when he was like that. Should plan on playing all back once you wraps up the statement. Express yourself. I'm gonna say Mike's hot. Check yourself while it comes whenever it is it. To the other line now. That's the last one.
Whew, Dave Aranda, the Baylor Bears. The test is in 15 minutes. Zay, you ready? Oh, deep.
That's a calm dude.
That is a deep, deep man right there. A little Dave Aranda for you. Let's hit a break here. We may visit with Dana Holgerson coming up here in just a minute. Big 12 Media Days. We're about to wrap it up, but don't worry, there's a lot still coming, including Steve Sarkisian at 3:25. Keep it right here on the Horn.
for the last 4 years, and you miss it.
Yeah.
And so, you know, what this spectacle is here and what game days like, et cetera, is awesome, and we're excited to be a part. I think it's more about the history of the University of Houston. You know, my good friend Andre Ware's sitting up there right now. You know, he was so good, and he was kicking everybody's tail. Where the politics got involved and the Houston got left out, we all know the history.
Yeah.
You know, and Houston going dormant for 20 years, and you know, I'm excited about, you know, being a part of it finally happening. You know, and so the University of Houston has great tradition, has had great success, has been dormant for quite a while, and has steadily crawled back to relevancy over the course of the last 15 years.
Coach, how has recruiting changed for you now being in the Big 12, being in the big-time Power 6, Power 5 conference, excuse me? How have you gone about recruiting any differently, or transfer portal? How do you go about those things now that you're in the Big 12?
Yeah, it's different. I think the easy answer is my first 2 years, we were told no a lot. You know, we recruited the same way, but we were told no a lot. Just want to play Power 5 football. I'm like, yeah, I'd get you, son. I want to coach Power 5. You know, and so I understood. You know, the last 2 years, we've been in those battles longer, and we've landed more than we have, right? So it's not where we want it to be yet, but you know, 75% of our roster has been recruited knowing they're going to play this Big 12 schedule. So that was exciting to a lot of the guys that we got. I think recruiting's got to take that next step in order to be able to compete year in and year out in this conference, and it's just going to take some time to do that. 3 years before we're fully funded is a big thing. 3 years before our facilities are built, which is a big thing. So, you know, that doesn't give us the right not to compete right now. We expect to compete every game that we play. But until the things happen over the course of the next 3 years, I don't think you're truly going to see the potential of Houston until it does.
Coach, you're one of those guys I always look for when you come into a media day. Are you know, I always look for, as a coach, bringing a quarterback with him to media day. You did not. Talk about Donovan Smith a little bit. Is there a battle at quarterback? Do you think Donovan's your guy? Are you at that point yet, or is it still to be determined?
You know, we brought in a lot of Power 5 experience that are new to our team. You know, and I mean, the list is long. I mean, there's 12, 15 kids that have extensive Power 5, extensive Big 12 experience. Well, they're not the 4 guys that I got here that have been in the program for 5 and 6 years. Okay, so, you know, 2 offensive linemen that are 4-year starters, you know, a defensive lineman, 4-year starter, a linebacker, which is a 4-year starter. I mean, those guys are the ones that deserve to come experience this. Mm-hmm. You know, are they going to be our best players? I don't know. A couple of them probably will. I think, you know, several of these guys are draft picks. But we did add Big 12 Power 5 experience. That's why Donovan Smith was important. You know, at the quarterback level, we lost Clayton Tune, who is Mr. Reliable, and was that guy that you could count on each and every week to be the same guy, each and every year to be the same guy. When you lose that, you better bring somebody in that's got some experience.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't think there's going to be wide-eyed growing pains, you know, with him. You know, I am proud of Lucas Coley, who's a Power 5 guy who said no to us and went to Arkansas. And then when we became Big 12, he came back to us. And so he's a Power 5 player, just doesn't have that experience. So he's going to keep competing and keep getting better. You know, there was two schools last year in Division I. It was UTSA with Frank Harris, and it was Houston with Clayton Tune. Those are the only 2 quarterbacks that started every game.
Wow.
Think about that.
Yeah.
So you think number 2 is important? Heck yeah. Number 2 is important,
yeah.
Right? I mean, obviously it happened at Texas. It happened at Texas Tech, you know, with the starter and then Donovan Smith and then the third team guy and then Donovan and then the starter and stuff. So you better get more than one guy ready to play.
Yeah, no kidding.
Coach, you have a contract extension that goes all the way to 2027, and we're in the age of just all college sports, football, basketball, etc. It's about win now mentality. What does it mean for your athletic director and the people up top to have confidence in you to build your own program, whether you're going through the ups and downs, they have confidence that you're going to get it done because you're building it your way?
Well, it's why I'm here. I was here in '08 and '09 at University of Houston. I've transitioned a group of 5 school into a Big 12 school with a lot of success. It's what Houston wanted. Houston wanted stability. Houston wanted somebody that's been there, done that. We were fortunate to win 12 games a couple years ago, same year that the Big 12 was announced. And so I'm like, look, man, next year my job is this, but then the next year it's a whole nother job. So I'm like, it's 6 years because I need 5 going into the Big 12.
Right.
That's a standard new coach contract. I ain't going anywhere. I mean, this is where I want to be. They want stability. I want stability. I want this to be my last job. So it's a good marriage right now. Obviously, you got to win, and we're going to be. I think we're going to be competitive. I really do.
Dana Holgerson joining us here on set. One more from me, Coach. I'll make it non-football because the guys over here were joking with you about non-football questions. Tell us something you're passionate about that's not football. Is it something you're streaming right now? Is it some music you just discovered? You've been to a badass concert? You love some food you've just eaten? Give me something non-football.
Oh, I'm a big show guy. I watch a lot of shows.
What's your recommendation right now?
Man, that's a good question.
If somebody's about to binge, they have a lot of time on their hands, what do they need to start?
Well, everybody's a big Breaking Bad fan, right?
Love Breaking Bad.
I mean, obviously, this started with The Sopranos, which that's the GOAT, and Breaking Bad followed it up, which is pretty good. The spinoff, the Better Call Saul spinoff was really good.
Good as well, yeah.
And I thought it was really average early, and then as that thing kept going, it got as good as Breaking Bad did, in my opinion. So I watch a lot of shows. I travel a lot. When I can get away, I'm getting away. I'm still trying to figure out where I'm going tomorrow.
You just know it's somewhere?
I just know it's somewhere.
Show up.
I'm going with the guys back to Houston tonight, and then I'm going to go home and look on, where am I going? I got 3 more days of vacation here.
Is it somewhere with, not a specific, is it somewhere with sand, or is it somewhere with a mountain, or what do you like?
I don't know. I mean, it's
okay.
It's whatever looks good. I'm gonna fire away. And I really honestly don't know where it's gonna be. I've been on the sand quite a bit. I was in Miami and Cabo for the last couple of weeks, so it doesn't necessarily have to be sand and sun. I've done plenty of that. I'm done golfing too. My Cabo's kind of been cool because my son loves to golf, and if I wasn't a coach, I'd love to golf too. And so he's not a coach, and so he's a scratch golfer. And so, I took him. We golfed for every day for about a week. I'm sick of that. Those clubs are getting put in.
Last one from me too, Coach. All the success the basketball team's having with Kelvin Sampson and everything that's going on down there in H-Town, how inspirational is it to see him succeed, and what is your relationship with Coach Sampson?
Good. He's a Hall of Famer now. I mean, he's tough. He's a Hall of Famer. I get asked that question a lot, mainly from Cougs, and they're like, well, basketball is winning at this high of a level. Why isn't football? I'm like, well, he's been here 5 years longer. He's going into his 10th year.
It's a big difference.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And they had things built going into like year 6 or year 7. Things were built, and that's an awesome atmosphere at Fertitta Center. And they've recruited at a high level, and they coach their tail off, and they got good players, and it's getting better and better. They're a little bit more equipped to go into this league, and I'm not naive. I'm a big basketball guy, and I know how good the Big 12 is in basketball. My elite. You're playing Sweet 16 teams every week. I think football's a very, very deep conference. Basketball at the University of Houston right now is probably a little better equipped to compete for that top spot just based on where they're at with their program. He's a Hall of Fame basketball coach. I have a lot of fun with him and enjoy watching those teams play.
That is Dana Holgerson, coach of the Houston Cougars. In 52 days, it's going to be UTSA, the first opponent for Houston, and the first Big 12 game is going to be TCU. Nice old Southwest Conference foes getting together again on September 16th. Coach, we appreciate it. We'll let you get to the next thing, and good luck figuring out what that vacation is going to be.
Awesome.
All right.
Thanks, Coach.
That is Dana Holgerson. Houston going to be one of those new members of the Big 12. Feels right having some of those old Southwest Conference crews back together. All right, that is going to wrap it up for our part of it today. Stems and Seeds, of course, AV Consultations. Give them their love, 255-8678, avconsultations.com. BigTwelveMediaDays.com. Zay, parting comments, Big 12 Media Days, how'd you enjoy it?
Oh, man, it's been a blast. The stadium's beautiful and feels like football.
I know.
Feels like football. It's just a beautiful thing.
Getting ready. We'll be back tomorrow to talk about those other teams, including Oklahoma, Kansas State. Which of those teams could challenge up at the top with Texas, TCU, or whoever it's going to be in the Big 12. We'll get into all of that. Stay tuned. Ball Don't Lie coming up with Rod, Harge, and Patrick, 325. Steve Sarkisian from the podium, and hopefully we're going to get Xavier Worthy in that 4 o'clock hour. It's the breakout session. You never know who you're going to hear from. Just keep it right here. We appreciate everybody who made it happen today. Hayes City Store and One Source Gas of Austin, thank you so much for making it happen. Our man Travis is here with us at Big 12 Media Days. We've enjoyed it. Thank you, Jera. See you.